Are you looking for the best pickleball paddles? In this video, we will look at some of the 5 best pickleball paddles on the market. Before we get started with our video, we have included links in the description. So make sure you check those out to see which one is in your budget range. Number 1. Selkirk Vanguard Control Invicta. Selkirk is a wildly popular paddle maker, but if you read a previous version of this guide, you'll know I was not a huge fan of the higher-end paddles in the lineup after testing dozens of models from past years. This has all changed with the Selkirk Vanguard Control Invicta, which is the best all-around paddle I've used and the one I'd recommend to anyone who doesn't demand the ability to hit huge overhead smashes. The Invicta is not thermoformed and doesn't have quite the same power as paddles that are. Thermoformed paddles are molded with heat and injected with foam, while traditional paddles are made by stacking up layers like a sandwich. What the Invicta offers, however, is exceptional control and consistency. This paddle is shockingly well balanced and feels great in the hand, thanks to Selkirk's upgraded octagonal grip. Every time you swing the Invicta, the hit feels like you expect it to feel and the ball goes exactly where you expect it to go. It's especially nice to have confidence in that consistency while developing more spin. I was a practitioner of the now-banned spin toss serve and I'm still in rebuilding mode, because you don't have to worry about a goofy bounce from a dead spot caused by a botched thermoforming process. The Invicta does offer impressive spin, thanks to AT700 raw carbon face and a larger-than-average sweet spot. Number 2. Panel Sound Pickleball Paddles, Set of 2. If you've never played pickleball, this is a good place to start, so you can get a feel for the game without sinking too much dough. For less than $30, you get 2 paddles, a few balls, and, bizarrely, 2 cooling towels. I bought this set of panel sound paddles when I wanted to try the game with my 9-year-old daughter, who has taken 5 years of tennis lessons but still serves from a few steps inside the baseline. I have since upgraded to other paddles, but I have no regrets about this purchase and now loan them out to other beginners. These graphite paddles don't have a ton of pop and produce minimal spin, but they're sturdy and have a comfortable grip. While they don't offer a lot of power in each hit, they do perform consistently. They weigh in at 8 ounces and are USA Pickleball approved, USAPA, meaning you can use them in a tournament if you want. The other paddles on this list are all tournament approved as well, so sign up for any contest you want with confidence. A beginner upgrade. The SLK Evo Power XL 2.0 is the paddle I bought myself from a big box sporting goods store after a few times playing with a cheap set off Amazon. I bought this paddle based on its excellent feel and still love swinging it. Selkirk bills this paddle, which has a fiberglass face, as an ideal pick for beginners and pickleball-curious tennis players. Indeed, the balanced weight distribution means it performs more like a tennis racket than any other paddle I've tried. That said, the Evo doesn't offer the kind of spin you see from higher-end paddles. Number 3. Jula Ben Johns pursues 14mm. Jula is a relative newcomer to the pickleball game, having started as a table tennis brand. I've tested a half-dozen paddles from the past 2 seasons of gear made by the Maryland-based company, including a unique round frame paddle more closely modeled on a tennis racket and several from the series made for pro pickleballer Ben Johns, the reigning number 1 singles player in the world. This paddle is thermoformed, meaning it's heat-pressed together and virtually indestructible. It's a little heavy on the head and delivers the most power of any paddle I tested. Everyone who tried this paddle found it not that forgiving, which makes sense given it was designed for an advanced player. The sweet spot is toward the top of the paddle face and isn't especially large. Whack one right on the money and the ball jolts off it. For a player without great control, it's easy to hit too hard. However, this paddle was especially appreciated by my friend Danielle, who injured her rotator cuff a few months back and is changing the way she plays as a result. Coming off a shoulder injury, it was nice because I barely had to work and I felt like I had a ton of pop, she says. More control and style. The Ben Johns paddle is absolutely the best bet for serious power, but I might personally prefer the Mach 1 Forza, a similar thermoformed paddle that doesn't have quite the same giddy-up but does have slightly more control and an understated style. The Mach 1 Forza comes in the slickest packaging I've yet encountered from a pickleball paddle. Is this box my new iPad? And I really love the black and baby blue design. It's not as accurate as the non-thermoformed paddles or as powerful as the Johns, but it's a solid all-around bet. Budget mashing. If you want to mash balls, but on a budget, go for the Phantom Eternal. A carbon fiber face for $85 is a great bargain, and the Phantom Eternal is overall a very solid paddle. I didn't find it all that precise compared to competitors that are more than double the price. There are dead spots at the top of my paddle, around the eyes. However, I loved the thick, slightly sticky grip and appreciated the unique graphics. Mostly, though, I found myself swinging for the fences with this paddle. Something about it makes you feel like you can smoke a return right next to your opponent's foot. Number 4. Jula Tyson McGuffin Magnus 3. Jula not only has the top-ranked player in the world, but also number 6, Tyson McGuffin. What I love about the McGuffin signature paddle is the sound. You may know that the sound of a pickleball game is quite controversial. I happen to like the sound. I do not live next to a pickleball court, and I like the sound of this paddle best of all. The hot pink McGuffin paddle is one of the hottest on the market right now and frequently out of stock. It's a banger, using propulsion core technology that offers serious power, and I find myself too often hitting long with it. However, that sound. Paul Wop. It's so satisfying. Paul Wop. It sounds like a well-hit baseball by your favorite team to walk off in the bottom of the ninth. Number 5. Diadem Hush. I've tested a handful of Diadem paddles at various price points and found them generally solid. Somewhat surprisingly, the first Diadem to make this list is an oddball. The Hush is a thermoformed paddle that employs a foam-covered face to eliminate the controversial pop sound, which, as noted above, I love. Diadem says it's the quietest paddle in the world. I found the noise level more akin to tennis than pickleball. The best compliment I can give the Hush is that it handles mostly like any other paddle. This is a very welcome surprise given that its face feels like a pool noodle. The paddle only weighs 8 ounces but seems heavier. While the dense, spongy surface doesn't offer quite as much pop as a standard thermoformed paddle, it's got as much as the standard layer-build paddles on this list. In a few games of testing over a few weeks, I haven't found any obvious dead spots. Diadem claims the foam is also helpful for spin, but in my testing I wasn't able to generate much. This paddle is not tournament approved, but if you're looking to play at odd hours or practice against a wall at your house, it could save you a lot of drama.